I'm doing great. How are you?
I am really good. Happy to be here. It is a Friday that we're recording this, so it's a great day for that. Where are you calling from, Kayla?
I'm in Sacramento, California.
Lovely. I am in Minnesota. It is cold again. We had spring for 4 days, and then it went back to winter. So we have a snowstorm coming Sunday. So that will be amazing. How's the weather over there? Nice and sunny?
It's the season for that. It's cloudy today, but it's going to be really nice this weekend. I'm going golfing, so I'm
Oh,
excited.
how long have you been golfing?
Like 2 years. I'm not good, but
Okay.
I can do it.
Yeah,
I enjoy going golfing.
So golf was one of my first favorite sports growing up, and then I started playing tennis. And I don't know if you looked at my LinkedIn at all, but I was a tennis pro for 8 years. So my tennis swing completely messed up my golf swing.
Wow.
I was the best golfer in the city here, and then I played tennis, and it all went to hell.
I've heard that happens.
Yeah, it's a weird sweet spot between a tennis swing and a golf swing. But do you mostly play like the big courses or the par threes? I'm a big par threer.
I don't know. Whatever my boyfriend tells me he likes to play, that's what we play. And I don't even like we were picking a course this weekend and I was like, I don't know. I don't know how to choose.
Yeah,
Just one and I'll be there.
fair, fair. Yeah, I'm lucky. I live 3 minutes away from the golf course I grew up playing on, so I pretty much
Oh,
only
nice.
golf on that one. Whenever I go to a different course, I get so confused.
Uh-huh.
It's like a whole new world. But
Totally.
well, Kayla, not really here to talk about golf today. I actually brought you on to talk about kind of your career path and some marketing stuff and some LinkedIn stuff. So maybe just give us a quick little background on who Kayla Bryant is and how we got here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you again for having me. I'm super
Of
excited to be
course.
here. I am currently Director of Digital Strategy at Two Trees PPC. We are like a boutique-sized digital marketing agency here in Sacramento, California, and I absolutely love it. It's like my dream job and dream company. We're fun. We have a great team, great work culture, do a lot of awesome, like exciting things for our clients. And so in my digital strategy role, I get to do a lot of different things, starting with building the initial relationship with potential clients. So that is on my plate and I love it. I think it's really fun and sometimes a little scary and very interesting. Very different from my career background. I came from the world of education, actually. I
Okay.
taught elementary school for 9 years
Oh, wow.
and then ended up doing a whole 180 and went into marketing and sales. And it's been only 3 years, but I've put a lot of, I'd say, time and energy and enthusiasm into jumping into this new career, uh, um, which doesn't feel new at all anymore. It just feels like my normal life. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very passionate about that. And as you mentioned, LinkedIn. So I'm excited to chat about all those things today.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like an elementary school teacher is actually a really good background for marketing because a lot of marketing is just psychology and understanding people. And kids are, I taught tennis for 8 years with ages 4 to 20. So I understand the differences in looking like everyone's different. And when you're teaching kids, like you have to adapt a lot. So I think that's
Mhm.
actually a really good background for marketing because like, you're used to adapting your messaging to different people. So I think that's probably
Absolutely.
actually a really good good start for you.
Yeah.
When it came to the career change, did you do anything between teaching and marketing? Did you go to any schools or do any certifications, or did you just go like, "Hey, I'm
No.
going in"?
I did not. Yeah, I thought I was going to stay in the education space in my career path and just like move out of the classroom and do something else that was, somewhat related. And that's just, it's not how the timeline worked out. And it actually happened that like a friend I used to nanny for her children in
Hmm.
college, she was the one that was like, you can always come work for me at this digital marketing agency, not the one I work for now, but a different one.
Yeah,
And I was like, that doesn't sound like something I want to do. I I don't know anything about sales. I don't know anything about marketing, but I decided to look into it a little bit, do some research about like, A, what is digital
yeah,
marketing? And B, like, is sales something I would even consider as a career path. And there was a lot going on at the time. And I was like, okay, like, let's just go for it. I'll learn a little bit about this company, try to get an interview with them. For some reason it worked out and they saw something in me even though I had zero experience,
Yeah.
and I got to jump right in and just start selling digital marketing even though I barely had any clue what that meant, just
Yeah.
from my few months of like looking things up online and taking little Google courses and watching videos. Like that was my entry education into marketing.
Yeah.
And then my friend Allison, she was my boss at the company and mentor, and just like she's amazing. So I learned so much from her, just working alongside her and shadowing her. Like everything I know started with Allison in this
Yeah.
realm. So I really thank her a lot for every all of the knowledge that she gave me and everything she poured into me, to make that first role a success for
Yeah.
me. And then I was able to just kind of take it and run with it from there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always say working for an agency is the best start when it comes to marketing because you, especially a smaller one, because you get to have your hand in so many different pots and like you're doing so many different things. So my first marketing job out of college was also for an agency and for very similar to yours actually. I was the marketing manager for a digital agency, so I did all of their marketing and I'd do like trade shows and workshops and things and webinars and podcasts and it's just fun to be that first point of contact. So I definitely enjoy that part of it. And I feel like the agency world, you just get to see so much because you get to see the behind the scenes, you get to see what happens, onboarding a client, offboarding a client, new product launches. Like you get to see so much and you get to work on so much that I feel like you get a very big, like a broad picture of the marketing world in like a year.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's a really great way to just learn about how marketing works generally, and then real in really niche areas as well. You get to learn kind of a little bit about a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure. And I went to college for marketing. Like I have a 4 year degree, and I learned more in the 6 months at my agency than I did in the 4 years. As well as while I was in college, I was still building communities and building websites and building social media accounts. So I felt like working on the stuff myself actually taught me way more than I could ever learn from like watching videos or going to class. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing I like about marketing is you can kind of just jump in and once you find what you like, you can kind of stick to it for a while. So like once you find your groove, it's really nice and you kind of get that process. So I'm sure you found some efficient processes as far as contacting new leads and getting them in the door and getting them to the next person.
Yeah, for sure. It's like an ever evolving process, honestly. But yeah, we've got
Yeah.
we've got come a long way, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So as far as your career path goes, did you jump in like 3 years ago to this role? Did you jump in doing all this, or is it slowly ramped up, or how's that looked as far as workload goes?
Yeah. It's ramped up definitely. So I jumped in. It was almost exactly 3 years ago in April, and April 4th, I think. And
Okay.
I was account executive at my first agency. So pretty broad spectrum there as far as what my role was. So it was
Yeah.
like everything from prospecting, business development, setting discovery calls, onboarding the client, like being the main point of contact for the client throughout that whole process, and then also managing the account, and just like the everything, like basically everything that happens was on my plate if it was my client. All the behind the scenes stuff, of course,
Mm-hmm.
we had teams for that.
Yeah.
So it was a lot, but it was great because I did get to learn a lot about the entire process. And then a little over a year ago, moved to my local agency here, Two Trees, and I came on in the same exact role actually with Two Trees, and then was here for I'd say like 4 months, and got a promotion, I guess you'd call it a promotion,
Nice.
to like kind of director of sales. And then we've like crafted that title and my role over time into director of digital strategy, just because it sometimes makes more sense, for starting out a relationship.
Yeah.
And that it, I mean, that's really what I do when I'm onboarding a client is the strategy piece and like what are we doing for them and why, and kind of educating them. My education background ties right in,
Yeah.
educating them on why we're choosing these strategies and how they're going to be effective and how we're going to track them through and optimize them and all of that. So yeah, it's definitely evolved over the last 3 years into something that I really love, and it's a little bit more targeted, I guess you
Hmm.
could say, than like the full scope of managing the client.
Yeah, for sure. As far as like advice for someone that wanted to switch careers into something along the lines of what you're doing now, do you have any like first, second, and third steps you'd recommend that they do?
Yeah, I'd say first, oh, this is hard. I have a lot of steps, but I'd
You
say
can
first,
you can go beyond three. I just didn't want to put too much pressure on you.
yeah, yeah. I'd say find a mentor. I think having a mentor is extremely important. And if that mentor is also a cheerleader for you, like even better. Someone who you can like look to for advice, and they're also like, I understand this is difficult, and also you can do it. Like trust yourself to do it. So I think that was a huge part of why I became successful in this industry and in this role. Having a mentor, I'd say number one.
All right.
Number two, I'd say maybe finding a role and a company that resonates with you. So, for example, something I really love about my current agency, Two Trees, is that we're very transparent with our clients. They're filled in on every part of the process, and that makes it really comfortable almost for me
Mm-hmm.
to sell to them, because I never feel like I'm selling somebody something that I don't believe in.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important if you're, especially if you're going into a sales role in any capacity, to have enough of an understanding, but deeply a belief in what you're doing.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah,
And then, oh, go
I'm gonna
ahead.
piggyback
I'll
on that
say
one
three.
because the
I'll say
first
three.
agency I worked for, I really liked because they were super transparent. So they even used the client's credit cards for the ad spend, so
Yes.
they could see exactly how
Mm-hmm.
much they were spending instead of scraping off the top, which a lot of industry agencies do. They'll be like, $2,000 in Google ads, but only 1,200 of it actually goes to the Google ads, and then they just skim off the 800 as profit.
Yes,
So,
it makes me absolutely crazy. And
yeah,
we're the same way. We put everything on the credit card of the client so they know what they're spending, and they have access to the dashboards so that when they want to see the metrics, like we have dashboards for them too, but they should be aligned with what they're
yeah,
seeing in their own dashboards. If they log in directly to the account, they see what was spent and they see what came in. So it's just
yeah,
better.
yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, on the education part, one of my favorite parts about
Good.
working for them was I would do workshops and webinars where I would literally show potential clients exactly how we did stuff. Like I would literally go in the
Yeah.
back end and show them everything because after they see someone who's really good at it do it, they go, "I'm not doing that shit. You do it."
That's so cool. And yes, that's a great point. We get clients like that all the time where we're like, yeah, we put out blogs, we put out lots of information, like, here's how you could do it yourself. And people are like, cool, but I don't have time for that. Will you just do it for me?
Yeah. Yeah, it's always fun too when I get like recruited to do like hired to do a photography gig or something and the person that hired me is actually their photographer. They're just like I'm busy or this is my least favorite kind of shoot to do, so I pawned it off. Like
Totally. I'm all about that. Like, trust the experts, go to the experts. Like, if you don't know, if you don't feel 100% confident in what you're doing, like, move it down the line to someone who does.
Yeah, exactly. And the agency model, like the thing I really like about it is usually you have multiple products, right? So you might like focus on pay per click, but you might also do social media or website management or something. And
Yeah.
I like that because then if a client does evolve to the point where, they hired a manager who's really good at social media so they can take the social part, you can be like, "Hey, let's we're not going to run your social anymore. Let's move that money into like your Google ads or whatever it may be, or something
Yes.
completely new," which I really like because I feel like you can build a real relationship with a client when you can tell them like, "Hey, you've graduated past this product. You don't need this anymore."
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That is another fun thing about agencies, because we do have a lot of different offerings for a lot of different types of clients, and you can really customize. You don't want to just like, oh, I really want to keep this client, so I'm going to keep them doing organic social for the next 10 years, like even though
Yeah.
I know it's not the best like prescription for them in the marketing sense. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice to have that
Well,
freedom.
as far as your company goes, or you personally, how, let's say you're marketing for like a brewery, what would be your
Uh-huh.
go-to channels for those?
Ooh, that's a good one. I just got off a meeting with a brewery this morning, so
Amazing.
great
I definitely
example.
didn't know that
Um,
beforehand.
no, I didn't tell you that. So for this particular brewery, we're heavily focusing on Instagram.
Okay.
Um, so Meta in general, I'd say is a great platform for a brewery. They're like hyper local. They have one location in Sacramento, and then they have distribution in the greater, like kind of the Northern California area. So we're heavily focused on Meta for them. We're mainly focusing on organic social right now because that's where they need the most help. And then we'll ramp up to next steps for them are paid ads on Meta and influencer marketing, where we bring local people to come in, have the experience, share what they like about the beers, and then we take that content and run it as a paid ad as well. So that's their kind of runway.
Awesome. Yeah, organic seems like it's making a comeback. When I was in the digital agency world from like 2015 to 2020, it was basically like organic is dead, organic is dead. Like you just need to do ads. And I feel like now it's no longer about the followers or how many fans you have. It's just purely if your content is good, it gets spread.
It does, yeah, for sure. And if it's even like a little bit funny or a little bit weird, and you can get it like every once in a while to go kind of viral or like, locally viral,
Yeah.
that's definitely a win.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was super annoyed last week. So I've never used TikTok in my entire life, but I
Uh-huh.
was like, you know what?
Wow.
I'm going to download TikTok and I'm going to try
Uh-huh.
this. And I started putting like my videos that I put on LinkedIn and I got nothing. I got like 200 views at the most. And then I posted a
Mhm.
video of my girlfriend's cat and it got
Mhm.
more likes in 2 hours than I've gotten in 6 months on LinkedIn posting good content.
Oh my gosh. I'm having a similar struggle with TikTok actually. That's funny you mentioned that. Last night my boyfriend was like, "Hey, like I think your TikTok account is like shadow banned or something
Yeah.
because you're only getting like 4 views on everything you post." And I'm posting same stuff, which isn't a good strategy,
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. I
Yep.
had one video that did really well on actually and YouTube. I had one specific video that did really well on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram.
Yeah.
So I had posted it on TikTok, of course, because that's my thing. I just post them all
Yeah.
and got like 3 views. And he was like, okay, try posting it on your other account because I have an old account that I like
Yeah.
used when I was sure that has like a little bit more of a following. And I think it got like 29 views.
Yeah.
It's just not the right platform, I think, for
No,
that type of
yeah,
content.
it seems difficult. I found that my LinkedIn content does well on YouTube. So my
Yeah.
LinkedIn videos, I found like YouTube shorts and YouTube videos kind of get me the same results as a LinkedIn post. And then I found Instagram Reels and TikToks are a lot more goofy, a lot more
Yeah.
like ADHD necessary. like it's a lot different. I found the informational ones don't get you a lot of growth or impressions on TikTok especially. So it is interesting like navigating that, and I'm still kind of trying to find my groove there because I do like I'll probably keep the account for the cat just because it's hilarious and I'm like, of course this is my most successful platform now, but I want to make my own again and just be like, all right, I'm actually going to do only TikTok and Instagram reel content for these, and it's going to be, annoyingly precise to the platform.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if you can like incorporate the cat somehow into your actual
Yeah,
TikTok
I
videos.
should.
I think there's a strategy there.
Yeah, that'd be good. I think the girlfriend's moving in July, so I'll have the cats here. So
Okay,
I'll just have one on my
nice.
shoulder. Yeah, the one just is in front of the camera at all times. So he's just there all day. So I'm sure he'll appear in every video I ever make after that.
There you go. That's when you go viral on TikTok.
Yeah, see, I got the plushies behind me for now. They're
Oh,
keeping
yeah,
the show going, but
nice. I
uh,
love it.
is fun.
Okay, I'm
Continue
saving this one for
steps.
I
Yeah,
had one more tip,
yeah,
one more piece of advice for someone looking to change careers.
yeah,
Um, I would say to like just fully dive in, like full send. this is what I'm doing now and don't like hold back anything. It took me some time to get there for sure, but I think I dove in right away to the work and like just did as much outreach as I could, as much everything as I could because I wanted to be successful, right? I think you have to go in with that attitude.
Yeah.
And then over time, as I've learned more about marketing, like this year I've started like my own video content strategy and I'm like almost always working. And I think that you don't have to always be working. Like you can you can have a work like balance if you really want, but as long as you're like during your 8 hours of the day when you are committed to your job, I think you just like dive in as much as you can and work really hard and also like strive to make things better. Like I don't care how large your company is that you're working for, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
And I think that if you come at it as like I'm going to work as hard as I can in my job description, but I'm also going to go above and beyond to try to make other people's jobs better, to try to, just like add to creative brainstorming, have ideas that are like a little bit outside of the box and work extra hard for things that are slightly outside of your role. I think that's
Yeah.
how you succeed, and especially if you're at all interested in moving into a leadership position. That would definitely be my third piece of advice.
Awesome. Yeah. I like it. Yeah. One of my favorite things about when I was working for different companies was like helping them build the efficiencies. So, when you do have that downtime and you're just like, all right, let me look at this from a high level. Like, how can we make this better or faster or whatever it may be? That was one of
Yeah.
my favorite parts. My CEO and he was like the visionary of the company. So he would work with me a lot. And before sales meetings, before he'd introduce a new concept, he and I would have a secret meeting where I would dumb down whatever he wrote because he's like, I wrote all this, no one's going to understand. Steve, you have to make it concise and efficient for a 10-minute like presentation, and then hopefully people will get it. So
Yeah.
that was kind of
You
fun.
were the chat GPT of the past.
Exactly, I was, and now I've been replaced. Darn, that's why I'm here.
That's funny.
And I got to use my voice, even though they can even do AI podcasts now. So I don't know. Yeah, who knows if we're real? We just living in a
It's so
simulation.
crazy. No, I don't. I've seen AI things where I'm like, oh, that looks kind of real. But I like I make so many faces. I've noticed when I'm editing my own podcast, I'm like, there's no way. There's
Yeah,
no way I could do this.
yeah,
I don't, not intentionally. I'm just always like, why did it? What was I doing with
yeah.
like my eyes?
I know. I have like resting bored face, I feel, even though I feel like I'm a very smiley person. But every time I watch my videos back, I'm like, wow. And then my girlfriend always makes fun of me because when I do the videos with the plushies, there's always screenshots of me just looking so mad at them. Like, and I'm like, I swear I love them. They're cute.
That's so
It
funny.
looks like I'm gonna like throw them across the room. I'm like, I swear I'm not.
Uh,
It's just my face.
yeah.
As far as client outreach goes, are you like a local agency? Are most of you like in Sacramento there that work there, or are you spread out?
We are probably about 50-50 on
Okay.
whether our clients are local or national. I'd say like our larger clients are mostly national. And then we love our local clients too, though, like the ones that we can, like the brewery today, we can just pop over there,
Yeah.
take some content. Like I'd say our content clients are pretty much local because that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the bigger like strategy was like paid ads clients are more national.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's not super fun to have to hire a photographer to hop on a plane just to take some pictures of your storefront or brewery.
Right.
Save that for the wedding photographer.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that's actually my favorite part too, especially like being freelance or doing my own thing is I get to go to all these local businesses and do a bunch of photography and video content, and it's fun to be able to like it's a good foot in the door I've found where I can just be like, hey, like your website could use some new photos, and I'll just take a few and give them to them for free, and then they think of me in the future, or when they have a budget, they're like, ooh, let's call that dude. He was good.
Yes, I love doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's super fun. And then it's also just fun to, especially because I live in a small town. So I live next to Minneapolis, but I live in a town called White Bear Lake. So it's like 25,000 people. And we have a really old, cute, small section of town. So it's all these tiny home businesses. And
Mhm.
I like just going down there and taking shots of, all the businesses and stuff because they're changing a lot. And then also they just don't do any marketing. Like a lot of these people have absolutely no marketing budget. So it's fun to be able to just kind of go in and give them something good for free and then hope down the road that A, it helps them, but B, they can help you in the future and be like, hey, let's hire that guy.
Mhm. Totally. Yeah. Or like a referral source or something.
Yeah.
That's really just getting out there,
Yeah.
doing good things and making a positive impact and like a name for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And I find a lot of cool places that I wouldn't have gone to. Like, there's a gelato shop downtown that's like the best gelato I've ever had in my life. And I'm like, how have I never known about this?
Nice. Oh, I love that.
It's super nice. As far as the content gathering goes, what's your typical like shoot look like when you go on site? Like, what shots do you do?
Oh, they're all super different.
Let's go brewer. Let's go with a brewery since we're on that
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah, for them, they're really like fun, bright, young brewery. So we do a lot of the like trending stuff. Like we did the bing, bing, boom, 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 bop, bam for
Nice.
them recently with like beer glasses and cleaning them and pouring and stuff. Like that was
Okay.
really it's a cool one. We they have a big focus on like their community as a brewery, like employees and stuff have a lot of say in what happens there. So
Okay.
we are doing a lot of highlights on them, like their team, and just some fun stuff like blindfolded, like beer pouring and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, Taste testing, guessing games. So that's really fun, just kind of cultivate some community for them and for their audience. And then a little bit of behind the scenes too, like this is how we produce the beer, this is how it gets its color, like just teaching people things that they might not know
Yeah.
about beer and the whole experience. And then, of course, we do like fancier graphics for like their new releases that are coming out soon and like new things that they're working on. They have some events that we're promoting. So we'll put out like little event calendars. So our content pillars for them are like kind of events, employee focused, beer focused. And then that like community piece too, education for sure on like the beer process.
Yeah.
And then we're also today like not at the brewery but offsite in our office doing like a studio shoot for like brand photography to make things look more like polished and professional. So it's a little bit of everything involved in that strategy. But definitely a lot of video for them because that's kind of a scroll stopper these
Yeah.
days.
As far as the video content goes, do you find that you can repurpose a lot of it and use it in multiple videos, or is it usually like we're shooting this specifically for this one video and then it fades away after that?
A little bit of both. Some of it goes into like a folder where we're like, okay, this is kind of more broad content, right? That we can
Mm-hmm.
use for various different things. And then other things we go in with like a really specific idea and we buy like certain props for just that thing and we make cute things happen and then we
Yeah.
use it for, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, one thing I like doing when I'm doing content for other companies is I like if I'm going there multiple times in a year, like to get some different stuff. The one thing I like doing at the end of the year is sending them a little compilation of some of my favorite clips that we recorded, even if there's no context to them, just to be like, hey, look at all the cool stuff we did. And I find that that's like a nice little relationship builder. And I usually do it around New Year's. So it's like, Happy New Year. Here's what you did last year. Like, let's do even
That's
better
really
this year.
cool. Yeah, it's like a content raft. Like
Yeah, exactly. And
here's what
I,
you
I
had.
yeah, I kind of stole the idea because I was working for a construction company, and every year they would make an annual review video. So basically, it would just be like interviews with some of the top people in the company, and then just talking about what happened over the year, and then it would just be a bunch of B-roll in the
Yeah.
field and stuff. So it was a fun way for me to be able to like repurpose my favorite shots from the actual construction sites. So I kind of stole that for my own use because I was like, I like this. I like this compilation at the end of the year.
That's really nice. I might borrow that idea
Yeah,
too.
I would do it. I stole it, so you can steal it too.
I love that. You like how I called it borrow? I rebranded it.
Oh yeah, you did. That was good.
Yeah.
See, marketing.
Getting at its finest.
I always say that to my mom and my girlfriend. I always like I'll say something. I'll be like marketing.
Yeah, yeah. My boyfriend will do that to me. Like I'll be like talking him into something and he's like, "See, you are a good salesperson."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you'll get to choose the golf course next time. Just have to sell it. Just pick one that's absolutely beautiful and super overpriced, and see if you can sell that. Get them on that one.
Oh, I that would be an easy sell.
Yeah.
Very easy sell. Yeah. Yeah.
Is is pickleball? This is so random, but is pickleball a big sport over there now? Because it's
It
blowing up
is.
over here.
Yeah, it is a big deal, and I've heard that there are now like indoor pickleball
Yep.
is opening up too.
Yeah, I did a photo shoot for a local one here. They have
Did you?
they have like an arcade. They have duck bowling, which is like basically skee ball with bowling
Okay.
pins. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and then they have indoor pickleball courts, and I think they might have squash too. But it's pretty cool. So I
That's fun.
personally, since I taught tennis for so long and played tennis for so long, I always looked at pickleball as a joke. And the kids I taught, like pickleball wasn't even a thing when I was teaching tennis back in 2010 to 18. But
Yeah.
we had pickleball equipment, just no one even knew what it was. So when the kids just stopped paying attention to tennis, I could just feel the energy go bloop. I'd be like, all right, let's bring out the pickleball nets. And then it was like a whole new world for them. It was so funny. So it was like,
That's
all
fun.
that spark came back.
Yeah, so you were way ahead of the trend there.
I was, but I was making fun of it the whole time. So I can't
Yeah.
really take too much credit. I was kind of the one, I was the naysayer in this one. And honestly, I still am.
Yeah.
If you're under 50 years old, I still recommend playing tennis instead. But after that, go for it.
One of my best friends is on your team. She's played tennis forever and she loves tennis. And every time someone brings up pickleball, she gets really annoyed. She's like, I will not partake in that. I am playing tennis.
Yep.
Who wants to play tennis with me?
Yep, yeah. And the funny thing is, I like ping pong, and ping pong is
Uh-huh.
quite literally the middle between like the two.
Yeah.
Like pickleball is basically ping pong on a tennis court, but
Hmm.
yep, just can't get myself to do it. But once I get a little more achy, I'm sure I'll be like, you know what, pickleball is looking like a good option.
Yeah.
um, all right, let's get a more personal Kayla question is what's your favorite content to make, whether it's for yourself, for your company, or for clients?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I on my content game personally, my little like personal brand, I just started this whole journey, I'd say October-ish of 2024.
Okay, I started
Now
September, so
okay,
yeah.
we're on the same path
Yep.
here. Now we're in March of 25, and so the podcast has evolved significantly since October, which I'm really excited about. And then my content, I think I actually really like making the short like content better.
Yeah.
I'm aiming for like 30 seconds to a minute with all of my little video clips that I post on like YouTube and LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And that's been really fun just to like, because you can just like sit down with two or three video ideas, film them all at once, clip them up. I love adding like the little sound effects and the fun captions and stuff and making them a little bit more engaging. I think that's been really fun for me. I just started doing that in January. So it's also been evolving. Like I'm getting better at it, which is
Yeah.
great. Both the recording and the editing part.
Yeah.
But it's been fun to see which pieces perform the best and like what my audience is most interested in. Um, so I really enjoyed that for just kind of like defining and refining who my target audience is with that
Yeah.
content and being able to be a little bit creative there.
Awesome. As far as your workflow goes, what do you use to record and what do you use to edit?
Ooh, good question. So for my podcast, I use Riverside to record,
Okay.
and then I edit a little in Riverside, and then I put it into CapCut for like finishing touches. For my shorts, I just record on my camera and go straight to CapCut.
Yeah.
I know there's a better way, but I'm like self-taught. This is not my this is not my skill set.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing for now.
Fair. Are you editing on the desktop CapCut or mobile or iPad type deal?
On the desktop. Yeah.
Desktop? Okay, yeah. That's the
Yeah,
way
I'm
I
not Gen Z enough to do
Yeah, I know. I
that.
see all these people on TikTok showing the tutorial on how they did this effect in CapCut and they did the whole thing on their phone and it's like, it's in super fast
Mhm.
motion. It took them like 30 minutes. I'm like, on the computer, that is like a 4-minute process. If you just do
Yeah.
it on the computer, please.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy to me that people do that whole thing on their phone. I'm like, Why would you do that?
I,
You
I
could use your mouse.
I know it's crazy, but they are really efficient people. So I have seen like they do make amazing stuff, and I always say, hey, as long as the end result is the same, do whatever works for you. But if you're just
Totally.
starting, I definitely recommend like getting used to the computer side because that's where things are faster, and then being
Oh yeah,
like
for sure.
familiar with the mobile so that you can do it on the go if you need to. Like that's cool, but I definitely recommend always using desktop for stuff because you can just there's just it's faster. There's so many more things. There's so many shortcuts. Like you have a full keyboard at your disposal. You can edit a video like in DaVinci Resolve or CapCut with just your keyboard. You don't even need a mouse if
Yeah.
you know the hotkeys. So it's
It's
like
true.
you can fly. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I use CapCut, DaVinci Resolve, and I actually just did a podcast this morning on Riverside. I downloaded it and I was like, all right, let's try Riverside. I did that for one, and then I'm gonna compare it to this one and make my final
Okay.
decision.
Yeah. Well, let me know how you feel between the two.
Yeah, for sure. I've the one thing I have noticed between the two so far, between Zoom and Riverside, is Riverside does a really good job after the fact. So you can do a bunch of
Hmm.
cutting and clipping and editing and stuff. But during the podcast, it often really makes the other person's camera blurry. I think that it's slowing their connection down because it's pulling their
Yeah.
audio. And
Yeah.
I've noticed like even when I've taken a Zoom call over to Riverside, so like I'll send the link in here and go over it, all of a sudden the quality is like 1/4 as good as it was because
Oh,
I think it's just
interesting.
heavier on the bandwidth usage.
Because
And
it's uploading it live while you're recording.
yep.
Yeah.
So I think that that might be an issue, which I've run
Hmm.
into, but I'm sure there's a way around it. And then
Okay.
I've also noticed people like Beehive uses Riverside. I don't know if you've seen that newsletter company on LinkedIn, but
Oh,
they use Riverside for all their webinars and stuff. And I've attended 3, and every single one has had issues to the point where they basically had to stop it and restart it
hmm.
15 minutes later. So I'm like,
Okay, that's not
I know.
good.
So I'm like, I really like all the tools on it, but I'm just trying to figure out at the moment, like, what's the best quality option?
People are telling me Descript is one of the best. I
I've
haven't used it yet, but I've heard that a lot.
I've used it. I haven't used it to record, but I've used it to edit. And
Okay.
if I would prefer Descript if you're scripting out videos and then recording them. If you like to have a teleprompter, it's really good for
Mhm.
that. I haven't
Okay.
tried it on the podcast side, and then it also has a text editor, which is nice. So you can edit your video based on the text feed instead of the actual video, which is nice. So you can just delete paragraphs and the video will follow along. Um,
Yeah,
and
that's
then it
nice.
also,
Riverside does that too. That's
yeah,
fun.
it is. It is nice. Does Riverside have AI voice that you can add? That's one of the things Descript
That's
has.
so scary.
Yeah,
It scares me
it
a lot,
is.
but
Yeah.
yes.
So you can like type. You can like type what you wanted to say, and then all of a sudden it's very close to your voice saying it, which is crazy. But yeah,
Yeah,
I have not used that yet. I don't really use AI much, to be honest. But
really.
yeah,
I use
not.
it. I use it. That's my next step in my process, actually. Then well, it's my first step and my last step because I have
Yeah.
ChatGPT like write my video scripts
Yeah.
and not fully. I give it the idea
Yeah.
and then it like kind of puts it out for me. And then I have it write my captions after it's done too.
Nice.
And I have my show notes for YouTube.
Okay, yeah, I do the captions and the show notes. Those are super
Yeah.
useful.
Yes.
I don't script my videos, funny enough. I just
Really?
YOLO and just go at it. So I don't even have an outline. I usually don't even have a plan. I usually put
Uh-huh.
my camera and phone, like I have this whole studio set up next to me here. Like I have a Netflix approved video camera and all this monitors and all these lights. But I basically just sit in front of it and I hit record and I'm like, all right, we're going to talk until something is useful.
That's impressive. I can't do that yet. I'm not there yet. I sit down and I'm like, I have no thoughts in my brain, so I need to have I need to
it's
have something.
it's fair. Well, I will say on those short ones, like the 30 seconds to a minute, those are really flippin' hard to do without a script because you don't
Yes.
realize how long you're talking until after.
Yes.
Like I've
You have to
recorded
be really concise.
yeah, I've recorded videos that I'm like, all right, this is going to be a minute to a minute and a half. It's easy, super digestible. And then I finish recording and it's 7 minutes long. And I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah,
did I
that's what
take
I
a
was doing at
nap?
first. Yeah. And I was like, this isn't going to work.
Yeah,
That's why I need ChatGPT. I tell it, I want this to be 30 to 45 seconds. And
Yeah.
then that makes it easier.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to steal that, especially when I'm doing like the TikTok things and the Instagram reels, because it's not really my
Mhm.
world. So I definitely need some help, and I've been definitely consuming a lot of content, which I will call research, but I've mostly just been laughing at cats and dog videos with the occasional influencer popping up to tell me how to make money on TikTok and then showing a
Yes.
screenshot of their fake earnings. But for the most part,
It'll get better. I love TikTok. The algorithm will get better the more you use it
good.
because it will like so fast. It will like learn all of the things you like in like your work life and your personal life. And you're like, this is actually really weird. Get out of
Yeah,
my brain.
that's awesome. Yeah, right now I'm in the fake influencer algorithm. So I'm getting
Strange.
all
Okay.
the influencers who have like 200,000 followers with zero engagement, and then they post
Um,
videos for their courses and how much money they can make from TikTok. And then you go to their YouTube. This is a real story. I went to this dude's YouTube yesterday, and his whole YouTube is how to buy fake followers and likes on all these platforms, and he's touting himself as this like social media like monster and how great he is at marketing and how you can make money, and then his entire spiel is just buy fake stuff.
that's quite
Yeah, I
something.
was like, this is incredible. I was like, I need to make a video on this alone, just because, like we were talking about earlier, the transparency. A lot of what I do is like, I don't think agencies have secrets. Like, there's no secret sauce to marketing. It's like as much as people say it's difficult, because it is very common sense, and it is very like, hey, just read the room and you're much better off than most people already. So one thing I've been attempting to do is just make very transparent videos on Instagram and LinkedIn and TikTok, where it's like, there's all these fake influencers, there's all these agencies that will charge you an arm and a leg to do this very simple task. Let me just take
Mhm.
45 seconds. I will show you exactly how to do it. So I've been doing that. It sparked from a LinkedIn post I saw like a month or so ago. An agency, someone that represented an agency, posted like that they blacked out their entire Instagram for a brand launch, so they archived everything. And someone
Okay.
commented, "I've always wondered how brands archive their Instagram posts." And then the person responded, the agency responded with, "Can't be giving away our secrets." And I was like, okay. So I just made a video like showing exactly how to do it, and then I uploaded that, and then I even DM'd it to that person like, "Hey, here's how you do it." Like,
Not hard, yeah.
yeah, not that hard. You just click a few buttons, like, and I'm like, I would never work with or for an agency that tries to hide things like that, because they shouldn't be making money from that part. Like, the money is being made from the strategy and the execution that you're giving them, and just knowing that you're in good
Mhm.
hands. I think anything that the client can do to make that better on your end or is beneficial to both. So
For sure. Yeah, yeah. The more they know, the better we can do our jobs, in my opinion.
yeah, for sure. And I think it's just a nice relationship builder too, just to be like, hey, like, we actually do care about you and want you to also understand what's happening, even if it's not a service we're doing for you. Like,
Yeah, totally. Sometimes with potential clients that like they came to us for help, but it turns out like they don't have enough budget to actually start doing a digital
yeah,
marketing strategy yet. I'll just send them like, here's a quick sheet on like how to set up your Google My Business profile to make it like optimal, like
yeah,
just quick little stuff that's like, this is not a secret. I'm not gonna ask you to pay us to do this for you because that's like so crazy.
yeah.
Just like, here you go, just do this. That'll get you set up for success. Once start making some traction, then we can talk again in the future, maybe if it makes sense to
Yeah,
partner up.
for sure. Yeah, my old agency, our lowest priced product was a local search directory that we'd run for like 6 to 12 months. And basically, we made zero profit. It was just the cost of the software and the cost of the
Yeah.
technician's time. And that was literally the price, because that was like
Mhm.
our product where, we want you to grow to the point that you can afford our other services. And you can't
Yeah.
right now, but here's like a great start, as well as like an intro to our ecosystem and like the client managers that you're going to be talking to. So I feel like that it's
Right.
nice to have that kind of, low hanging fruit, whether you're making money from it or just sending it off as like, hey, like best wishes and hope you're successful, and when you are, think of us.
Yeah, that always feels good. Like anything I can do to help you get there is it just feels better to be like, than like, no, sorry, we don't work with you because you don't have enough money. But
Yeah,
but we want all I want all businesses in the world to be successful, right? Like I want them to all good ones. I guess there are some bad ones out
yeah,
there, but I want them to have the tools that they need to get to a place where they can really scale and they can really like grow with the help of someone like, us who is a marketing expert in whatever capacity they need help with.
yeah, for sure. And a lot of these people, like they're focused on their business, so they're not scrolling TikTok and Instagram and stuff all the time. So they don't even know that that might be the best place for their business. So it's nice to be able
Right.
to, even if they're not ready for you, just to be able to introduce them to some of the platforms and things that you want them to get on, whether you're the one running
Mhm.
it or you're just like, hey, go make some accounts and post the same pictures that you were posting on your Facebook. Like,
Right.
so,
Yeah, yeah, just try this and see what happens. Yeah,
yeah,
a lot of things like the biggest I think sticking point for people on that is like getting on social media like themselves. A lot of people are scared to put like their face or their
yeah,
voice out there. I think that's the step that will really start to set people apart.
yeah, for sure. I'm glad you said that because I had a question earlier about that. As far as your agency goes, do you mostly work only on brand accounts, or do you work on some of those like founders and CEO or salespeople's accounts as well to push out marketing?
That's a good question. We mostly work with brands, but some of the brands are smaller. Like I'm talking to a brand right now, that I met at Expo West. It's like a big, huge trade show.
Yeah,
Uh, and it's basically like her and like a couple other people. So it's a product, but the brand is like it's really cute and they've done a great job. But I'm like, you need to be part of it. Like
yeah,
your voice needs to be there. So it's a little bit of a hybrid if we're working with, especially like a smaller brand that I think, I don't know if this is a controversial opinion, but I think every brand needs a face. Like I think every brand should have at least one face.
yeah.
Uh, but if it's a smaller brand, like 100%, yes, you need a face. If it's a bigger brand, you can sometimes get away with not, especially if you're like more B2B, but
Hmm.
people just want to connect with other people. So I think that I always try to weave that into the strategy, regardless of what type of brand it is.
Yeah, for sure. It makes a big difference. One of my favorite clients I worked for was this fried chicken restaurant, and the woman's
Uh-huh.
logo was just her face, and she was a lot. Her personality was very bold. So I got to write all of her content like in her voice, which was just this sassy, aggressive, overconfident fried chicken cook, and it was so fun.
Love it. What a fun example.
I know it was super fun. She was out in Louisiana, but so I never actually got to visit the chicken shop, unfortunately. But
Uh,
it looked delicious. I can tell you that much. But
yeah.
it was so funny. She was just like her whole brand. She's like, it's my chicken. It's my face. That's all it is. It's like-
There can be some balance between the two, but
I
I
know.
like the
I
enthusiasm.
know it was so funny. She's like, my son is so embarrassed every time he has to walk by the restaurant. But yeah,
That's great.
they were a hoot. But yeah, I found especially in like the restaurant world and small business, a lot of them don't want to put their face behind it, so you have to do a little bit of convincing. So you have to show them, whether it be case studies or just like similar people in their industry, like, hey, look at what Kayla's doing over here. She owns like this boutique, and then she's been doing this on her personal brand, and it's been doing really well. So I think a lot of the
Yeah.
time that you just need to introduce them to it and show them a few working examples, and then it's a lot easier to get them on board.
Yes. Yeah. That's actually exactly what I did with that one I was just talking to you about. I sent her like be like these are some examples of like what I'm talking about that either they're similar to your brand or similar to the concept, with the founder being part of not every post, but some of the like you go to the grid on Instagram, they're in like at least one of the recent posts.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. On a somewhat similar topic here,
Uh-huh.
as far as your 3 years in marketing, have you, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen since you started as far as the industry goes? Or maybe it hasn't changed much.
That's a really good question. I haven't thought about this before. I mean, definitely the like introduction of AI on a widespread scale,
Hmm.
um, for better and for worse. I think it's made a lot of things more efficient for sure. I think it's also kind of streamlined a little bit of creative in a bad way,
Hmm.
where you just look at something and you're like, okay, AI wrote that. Like it's very obvious. It doesn't really add any value to my life or your life or anyone in the target audience.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's probably been the biggest shift. But then, of course, people are using it for great things and doing really creative stuff with it and just making their workflows more efficient so that they can get more done. So, really good and really interesting ways AI has shifted. Just with, I mean, things are always changing in the back end of platforms, like what targeting options are available and all
Yeah.
of that, privacy changes as far as like cookies and what data we can collect on people to target audience as well, which I've heard is shifting even again for Meta. It's going to become less geo-specific, which is frustrating.
Okay.
So we'll have to figure out some workarounds for some of our clients for that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, overall, I mean, trends are always shifting. I think there's definitely been a continuous shift toward video content over the last couple of years,
Yeah.
um, and animated type content over static. I'm sure there are other things that I'm not thinking of, but influencer marketing is always something I have a pulse on too.
Yeah.
And I think that it's going to continue in the way that I want it to go, which is toward like the micro influencers
Yeah.
who have better like relationships with their audiences, are more authentic, and really speak to the highlights of a brand without it being like gross.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like the smaller ones in general, I trust them more because as like a smaller creator myself, I feel like I actually use the stuff that people send me to advertise.
Yes.
And the big
Uh-huh.
ones, like they don't. Like they'll be like, I've been using this for everything for the past 3 months. I'm like, no, you haven't. I see your
Yeah.
content. It's not there. Like,
There's 0% chance you've ever touched that in your life.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And like I saw one the other day, it was like, I've been using this AI platform for a year to cut my shorts. And I'm like, no, you haven't. That's a really funny sentence, actually. To cut my shorts, to make my video reels. And I'm like, no, you haven't. It says on their website that they launched 2 months ago. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I do not like inauthentic marketing, but yeah, the little influencers are great. Like we've been using some for like the local brewery and the local we have like a local grocery store we work with.
Mhm.
And it's so fun to see that content. And we have a winery too. And we've just been sending out like local people who have like a few thousand followers, but a really engaged following. Like everyone
Yeah.
that follows is in this area and would know exactly where that store is,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's been really, really fun to be a part of.
Yeah. How do you build those relationships with the influencers? Do you use like a database or do you reach out to them personally or do they reach out to you or what's your
We reach
process?
out personally. Our process is pretty manual right now for like the hyper local people. Just because like we have some connections and then those grow. So we just kind of go on like a rabbit hole basically on Instagram and we're like, okay, what are some other brands that have done collabs? Who did the collabs for them? Who do they know? Who are they tagging in their posts? And we'll just try to find someone that really suits their target audience,
Yeah.
and or one of their, usually they have several target audiences,
Hmm.
so we'll pick an angle and a couple different angles and get some diversity in there with the perspectives. And yeah, we just DM them on Instagram usually and be like, hey, would you be interested in this project?
Yeah.
So we're doing it differently than all the big agencies are doing it that have like the sourcing tools and they're all using the same people basically.
Yeah, fair. Well, I feel like you have an advantage because you're probably, those people that are in those big platforms, they're used to just getting these brand deals that are probably pretty absurd when it comes to the actual amount they're getting. Whereas when you're approaching
Yeah.
someone personally, you can give them a price that to them probably looks great, but to you, you're like, I'm still saving some money by using a micro influencer instead of trying to target these huge accounts that hit everybody. And like once again, back to the um, back to the fake viewers and stuff, like a lot of those people bought their views and things, like the top ones. So it's like, it's nice, the micro ones, like you can see like their community, like you see the comments and you see the likes, you're like,
Yeah.
yep, those are all real people, like that's my brother. Like
Yep. Totally.
which is nice. Yeah, I haven't really dived too much into influencer marketing. Like I've done my own, like people have sent me stuff. I used to be sponsored back in the video game times by a bunch of different companies, but these days, like yeah, I've never actually used an influencer, so it's definitely something I'm sure I'll get to one of these days, but I've never got to experience the back end of that.
Yeah, it's honestly really fun, and they're great to work with usually, and the content they produce is always super unique and interesting. So it's fun because it's different than what would we would make as an ad, like as an agency.
Yeah.
It's it's just a different perspective, different style of content. And it can be like slightly off brand, not wildly off brand, but it
Mm-hmm.
can be, something a little bit different that the audience isn't used to seeing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, one of my best friends growing up, she was a nurse and then she had two kids and she was like, I want to stay at home with the kids. So now she just makes UGC videos on Instagram and that's how she makes her money. And it's just perfect for her. Like it fits her lifestyle perfectly. She gets to work with brands that she likes. She gets to learn about a lot of new brands, which is cool. So, like some of them, they'll send you supplements or something, and you're like, all right, I'm going to use it for 3 days, then I have to make a video on it. So I'm not really going to have a good opinion of it yet. But then
Yeah.
she'll be like, no, this was actually sweet. And she'll just keep using it, for she'll become a
Yeah.
customer at that point. So,
Yeah, and then some of them, like those type of influencers, will become like a brand ambassador basically, and
yep.
they'll keep talking about the brand, and the brand will like rehire them for different things. So that's always fun too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't remember. It was either a YouTube, I think it was a YouTuber I was watching, maybe a podcast I used to watch that would basically, they would like put all the drinks and stuff and chips that they were eating or whatever on the podcast and they would white it all out and then they'd write like, please sponsor us. And they were like, we're not going to show any logos until someone pays us to do it. And then they
Nice.
got companies to start doing it. It's so funny.
That's a smart approach.
Yeah, so that's kind of fun. I was like, I would probably do like a green duct tape, and then I could put whatever I wanted on it, which would be kind of funny.
Yeah.
Just chroma key it. But well, I will let you go in a moment. But is there anything else that I haven't touched on that you wanted to bring up today? Also, I need you to shout out your podcast because we actually haven't heard what your podcast is called or where to find it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, my podcast is called The Marketing Chat Room, and it's super fun. It's just casual chats like this, usually around a specific like theme
Yeah,
relative to marketing. And I have some really exciting guests lined up. Maybe you can come guest on my podcast too. That would be
would
fun.
love to.
Yeah, I mean, you and I connected through LinkedIn. I'm always passionate about talking about LinkedIn because I think it's just such a great platform for connecting, for marketing, for sales, for all of the things in the corporate business world. Um, but yeah, this has been a really fun conversation, and I am excited to stay connected with you and hopefully make some new friends through your audience here too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I will definitely put your links in the description of the podcast and the posts that I make, and then I'll send you some clips too, and you can like feel free to cut whatever you want out and use it however you want. So yeah, it's all free game, and I would definitely love to hop on your podcast at some point. Just let me know when. I'm always game.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Final thing. If you could give one action item to people who are still listening to this as far as LinkedIn goes, if you give them one homework assignment, what would you tell them to do?
Okay. Set a goal. I've done this several times now for myself on LinkedIn, and I've always like way overshot my goal and had like really exciting results. So I think last year I set a goal that was funny to me now, that I was going to post on LinkedIn once a month, which is
Okay.
like nothing.
Hey.
And now I post like 2 or 3 times a day usually.
Yeah.
Um, but so yeah, it's just like set an attainable goal that you think you can accomplish. And then this year I think my goal was to create and post one like talking head style video a month, and
Mm-hmm.
I do like 2 every week. So I think that's my piece of advice. Whatever it might be, wherever you are in your LinkedIn journey, set a goal and then just like whatever that thing is, if it's just writing text posts, if it's just making like carousels, if it's making videos, posting photos, whatever it is, just do
Yeah, for sure. I like that. And
it.
yeah, I have the same advice. Just do it. And it takes a while to get good at it. So the only way to get good at it is to do it. Like, there's not too
Yep.
many musicians whose first album was just a hit. You know, they made a lot of shit before that. And
You got to start somewhere.
yep,
Yeah.
you gotta start somewhere. And even like me, like I've been making videos and things since 2004, and it's like I still am learning how to do, you know, the new wave of video and this new content because like my content back then was dramatically different than what the internet calls for now. So
Yeah, for sure.
just always learning and adapting and just trying new things, and that's what keeps it fun. That's why I like marketing so much. Is it's just I like the changes. There's a lot of industries that people choose because there aren't that many changes, and the thing I like about marketing is like it's always changing, and as technology changes, marketing changes right behind it. So it's definitely
Mhm.
something fun to watch. Well, Kayla, I appreciate your time today. I will let you get off on your Friday and go have some fun, hopefully, and get ready for your golfing for the weekend.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Yeah, thank you as well. And I will link your stuff in the description. So anyone listening, make sure to connect with Kayla on LinkedIn and check out her podcast as well. And I will see you all next week. Thank you again, Kayla.
Bye.
Bye.